One. We're in, folks. Welcome to the fucking Chef Fit Show. An exciting episode for you today. We've got none other than my man Jasper Size, aka Jasper Prickett, who is one of the Chef Fit Elite series success stories in the past couple of months. And we are here to share his story and get him involved and basically get you to understand what is possible for you when you apply yourself and you have the right people around you. So Jasper, nice one for jumping on, Chief.
No worries.
So like Jasper, first off, man, just give us some background on yourself, dude, like work-wise, career-wise, and whereabouts you're from and all of those things, so we know who you are.
Okay, so I live and work in Bristol and the surrounding area. I've been a chef now for the best part of 17 odd years, and the last 5 or 6 of those has been at the kind of area chef, executive chef level. For about 4.5 years, I was the executive chef of a group of 4 restaurants, 2 in Bristol, 1 in Cardiff, 1 in Exeter. And that took its toll on me mentally and physically, and I quit that to find something a little bit different. But I ended up finding myself in a really similar role as an area head chef of 2 pubs here in Bristol. Same kind of problems. And towards the sort of 3rd or 4th month of that job, I discovered Chef Fit, and it sort of just ticked all the boxes for me. I made the leap to join and haven't looked back, and it's just been a huge transformation since then.
Totally. So let's actually dive in. So obviously very, very experienced, and you've worked at the top level, and basically you got yourself to a point where you kind of couldn't really, something had to change at that stage. So that's when we spoke. So just take me back to that version of Jasper. Like, where were you at physically and mentally when we first spoke?
Well, yeah, I mean, purely physically, I put on a lot of weight. I was 115 kilos. I don't know, it's 18 stone or thereabouts. Very weak, purely just fat. The only sort of strength I had would be, kitchen-based strength. I would play squash every few months, but that stopped a long time ago. I haven't had gym membership for a long time before joining. And mentally, I wouldn't say I was in a really dark place, but I didn't really allow anything in my life. Work was completely dominant. Social life has been non-existent for a long time. Quality time with my girlfriend of 12 years has been pretty shit. And it's sort of classic story of a chef who saves all of his energy for work and not really allowing much else. And I wouldn't say my relationship was suffering majorly, but it certainly hasn't been the best. And I think it was so directly related to 2 things. 1, my physicality, and 2, just work being too much stress, too much time consuming. So I knew that I needed to make a change, because for me, I've been with my girlfriend 12 years or more, and we want to have kids. We want to start a family. I'm 35, she's 31. It's time we want to make this sort of stuff happen. And the way I was a few months ago in that state, it was never going to happen.
What led you there, though? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you think about the stress of the job and obviously having, a lot of responsibility in your role, like, what about that role? Do you think that was very much connected to why you slipped physically the way you did, or what do you feel caused that?
I mean, 2 things, I guess. 1, when you're with someone for as long as that, 12, 13 years, you get very comfortable, too comfortable. So you sort of stop trying, I guess, to, look your best and be your best. You don't have to prove anything anymore. But that's only one side of it. The other side is obviously work. Being in that kind of stressful environment where you're working a lot of hours, and even on your days off or time off, you don't really rest mentally, because you're constantly getting emails and phone calls and fighting fires from afar. And I think it was just a case of, I convinced myself that work was so much that I would never be able to sort my shit out, I
Mm-hmm.
did join a gym like a year ago, and it didn't open until 9 in the morning. And so I convinced myself that I'd have to go in the evenings, and I never did. And it's like then I made up this bullshit excuse that, well, I really want to go early in the mornings before work, but it doesn't open until 9, so I can't go. And I have this gym membership costing me £30 a month, which I didn't use.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why didn't I just fucking change gyms, find one which opens earlier? Instead, I hung on to that excuse and didn't do anything about it.
Totally.
And the same with work. Like, instead of just saying, no, it's my day off, and switching my phone off, or, you know, just not replying to emails, I would. And if someone called in sick and I had to go and cover, I wouldn't sort of say, no, I've got plans. I'd be like, yeah, all right. Because I never made plans, because there was this kind of thing in the back of my head which said, well, you can't make plans because what if something happens at work?
Mm.
And so it wasn't really putting myself and my life first. It was putting work first. And I think that's just what led to it. And then eating shit, drinking. I wouldn't say I've ever been a big drinker, but a regular drinker.
Yeah, frequently.
You know, 1 or 2 drinks almost 7 nights of the week after work. Eating crap food that just goes along with that. Living off takeaways 3 or 4 nights a week. Not allowing myself time in the morning to have breakfast, and the same at work, just picking throughout the day on chips and anything that's easy, making sandwiches, you know, all of the kind of classic pitfalls of chef life, I guess.
Totally.
And I've just got a really slow metabolism, so if I look at a chip, I put weight on.
Yeah.
You know,
Thanks,
so it just makes it worse maybe than for some others.
So that had kind of gotten you to the point where it was like, right, something needs to be fucking done here. So obviously you saw Chef It and you saw the ad or whatever had popped up for you, you know. Before we even get into the results or anything like that, what did you honestly think before you spoke to me? Like, what did you honestly think? Was there skepticism there? Was there uncertainty there? What were you thinking?
Your video popped up on my feed. I think it might have been Instagram or Facebook.
Facebook.
About 3 months before I actually saw it a second time. And the first time I saw it, I was like, who is this fucking Irish guy with this mustache, talking it big, this, that, and everything? I thought, come on, who knows really what it's like? But it also, at the same time, it grabbed me. It took my attention, and I watched it, and I was like, fuck me, this could be it. This could be something that helps. But I wasn't ready mentally then. I was in this new job of this group head chef of these 2 pubs, where I was in the middle of launching new menus and recruiting teams. It was like, there was no way I was going to allow myself this headspace to jump into this
totally.
whole lifestyle change. And I was like, maybe, you know, I'll come back to it. But then you popped up again about 3 months later, and this is when I spoke to you. And at that time, I had kind of spent these 3 months in this new job and learned again that I had jumped into something which basically was exactly what I fucking left in the first place. And I was like, no, this isn't going to work. I've got to make a change. I've got to get out of this. I've got to find something that's right for me. And that's when you popped up, and I thought, this could just be perfect timing, could coincide with me looking for a slightly different career path, not massively, but just, you know. Yeah. And then at the same time, use that as a sort of platform for fixing my own problems as well, physically.
100%. And when you took that call and we stepped forward, like, first off, and be honest, because I'm sure there's a huge amount of chefs here that, you know, will probably think, yeah, and even if they do take a call or they're willing to kind of somewhat step forward, they're still like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? What's actually going to happen here? Like, did you feel you were genuinely skeptical at the start? Did you feel you were, no, I'm going to fucking do this? Where were you at?
No skepticism at all. I didn't doubt you or what you could offer in any way. I thought, yeah, brilliant. This guy's clearly had some success stories long enough, you know, and I spent a bit of time. I didn't jump into it. I did read up quite a lot of your I watched some of your testimonial videos from some of the other guys in your early stages of Chef Fit, and I could see that it works. So I wasn't doubting, I wasn't skeptical that it would work or not. It was me. I was doubting myself whether I could genuinely commit to something like this. And there's no talk about money or anything in any of the videos, any of the promos, and so I did wonder, how much is this going to cost me, that sort of stuff. But I think then after speaking to you, and then when the fee comes up, you're like, by the time you've had a conversation with you, and by the time you've got to that point where you want to commit, the fee is irrelevant, and it's so cheap in relative to what you offer and what we achieve through this. It's incredibly good value, and I think what you're saying about skepticism and things, for me, when I first thought about joining, was like, am I willing to part ways with a bit of cash for something which I might not commit to? What if it doesn't work? What if I bail? I don't want to lose any money, for example. And looking back to that same me back then, I wish I could just say, you're a fucking idiot. Like, I would pay twice that now, looking back, because it's incredibly good value.
Yeah.
It's you can't put a price on the difference that it's made in my life. You can't, really.
Totally. And with that in mind, it's like we're talking about, what you got out of this and the value that you did get, and that person back then. So obviously we're indicating that there was a massive change. So let's actually talk about the results that you were able to achieve, because they were fairly drastic, to be honest. So think about, first off, from a physical, you know what I mean? Like, from weight being the first thing, and then we'll just build off from there. Like, just name off, like, what were the results that you were able to achieve?
Well, first and foremost, the obvious one is weight. I started this at 115 kilos. I'm now 93.5. So we're talking over 20 kilo loss, 3.3 stones, something along that. And, that's 4 months, just under, thereabouts.
It's fucking mad. It's madness.
It's an epic loss. And, everything that comes with that, from the lifting in the gym and from doing the cardio, everything that, has caused the weight loss, but then comes with the extra weight loss, is the massively increased levels of energy, the general fitness that I have, the general well-being and sort of mental strength and patience and positivity that comes with it. Sex life has improved vastly. There's so many things which come with being fitter and healthier and lighter, which are just improving every aspect of my life.
Savage. Absolutely insane, bro.
Energy levels in work as well. Like, I go into work and from start to finish, I'm the one pushing from the front and getting everything done, and sort of not looking at the clock thinking, oh, come on, how am I going to get through the rest of this day? It's sort of like, oh, that flew by, sort of thing. And I'm going to go to the gym after work and spend an hour doing that. Oh, and then I might go for an hour's walk as well. It's like, before it was finish work, be thinking, brilliant, I can go and have a pint and sit on the sofa for 2 hours and then fall asleep in front of the telly. That's all I would do.
Yeah. Which isn't a life fulfilled. Do you know what I mean? And it's not. And I think what's important, and what I want to ask you here is, like, what do you do now that kind of mind boggles you, that if you had a thought about it like 4 months ago, that you wouldn't think you'd be able to do? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of stuff are we doing on a regular basis that kind of goes, holy fuck, I can't believe I'm actually...
So many things. Running in particular, I've really, in the last, not that long, I guess, in the last sort of month to 6 weeks, I've really started enjoying running. At the beginning of this, I remember in the first week of Chef Fit, I went for a run outside around the local neighborhood, and it must have been 1.5 kilometers, if
I remember.
10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes of running, and I was fucking dead. Absolutely dead. And I thought, Jesus Christ, how am I going to get this done? Now I'm running 5-6k in 5k on average around 28, 29 minutes. 6k I did yesterday in 35.
Mad.
And I'm doing that 2-3 times a week. This week I've run 6k. I'm going to be running 4k tomorrow. I'm going to run a 5k at the park run on Saturday. And it's that alone, just the running, is mind-boggling that I can do that. And the lifting in the gym is also something that I've had a gym membership a few times in my life, and it was always a struggle for me doing weights. I was always, really a bit timid and didn't approach it with confidence. And now I'm in there doing free weights and things, and the addition of weights each time I go, 2 or 3 times a week, 4 times a week, whatever it is, putting the weights up and up and up. It's like, fuck, I'm lifting this now. How did that happen?
Yeah, totally.
And it doesn't feel like I'm doing it. I'm going and going, oh, I've got to G myself up. It's just, it's happening naturally. Because every time, increasing little by little, it's just, well, your muscles are getting used to it. So it's not like it's a great big mental push to try and do it. It's just all part of the process. It makes it easy.
100%. So if we think about the results that we've been able to achieve, and you've also made changes within your career as well, and that's an interesting one to think about or talk about, because I think throughout this journey, and you can tell me, what way has your perspective or maybe your perception of what you want in your life, like how has that changed over the past for obviously you knew you were overstressed in the other roles, but how has it changed in the last couple of months?
Massively. I mean, I think it's all happened quite quickly. And again, I think joining Chef Fit in the first place was because prior to it, I had kind of decided that I needed to make a change in my life. I knew that I'm a chef and I don't really want to not be a chef. It's what I enjoy doing, but I knew that something had to change. And so then when I joined Chef Fit, I was amazed at how quickly that kind of minor thought of making a change has grown, and my options have opened up without even trying, like completely organically. And so this job where I was group head chef of these 2 pubs, which was taking its toll on me mentally, I basically quit in quite a hastily format. And this is only like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe less than a month after joining Chef Fit.
I remember, yeah.
And I quit saying, "Nut, fuck this. I've joined Chef Fit now. I see the light. I need to make a change. Let's just quit, and something will come along." But then I never actually left the company. I've basically stayed with the company because with this positive frame of mind and this new outlook and putting myself forward and saying to myself and saying to others, I come first, and my life with my girlfriend and my personal life comes first. However, I still care about my career. I still am ambitious, but I come first. And I said this to my boss, my executive chef. And the response I got kind of blew me away. It was like, yeah, totally respect that. Good for you. Really happy for you. Here's what I want to do. You're an amazing chef. I don't want to lose you. Too many companies around the country, around the world are losing good chefs left, right, and center. I want to create a role, especially for you, which is going to work for you, work for us, make you happy. And it will mean flexible hours, this, that, and everything else. I was like, right, I'm listening, and so I'm in this interim stage now where I'm a kind of relief head chef for the company, and I go around training others on new menus whenever there's a refurb or a relaunch of one of their pubs, because the company is in a really big stage of growth at the moment, and they've got projects left, right, and centre around Bristol and the southwest. I've been down to the Channel Islands on Jersey, where they've got loads of other places like that, and I've been helping them launch new pubs and train their teams. And this is kind of like an interim position. And literally this morning, Cameron, she contacted me and said, we need to meet because we need to discuss this new role that we had talked about of being a development chef for the company. And this will be even more towards what I want, where it will be a development chef in one kitchen with my own kitchen, doing flexible hours, developing dishes and menus, and taking chefs, bring them to me and working with them and training them, and they go back and implement my dishes rather than me being on the road or plane or whatever.
Incredible.
So it's incredible. This is an opportunity which a few months ago I just wouldn't have ever imagined that would come my way.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm going to meet her again next week. She's just sent me an Instagram of a 1,500 pound asado grill setup, which he wants to buy and put at the brewery for me to experiment on. It's like, fuck yeah.
Amazing.
So little things like that, which I can't imagine would have happened, are now happening without me even pushing or asking, just because I'm putting myself first and saying, I care about me and I care about my career, but it has to work harmoniously. And by saying that,
it happened almost like a law of attraction. It's incredible.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's well deserved as well. You know what I mean? And I think
self-worth, you know, putting yourself, valuing yourself, and making it known to others what you're worth, and backing yourself.
Totally.
I think that's what it's all about, you know.
I think in this journey, that gets revealed to you, because you build like your lifestyle and your fitness and all of these things, like they build who you are. So like progression in your fitness and your lifestyle, it also bolsters your confidence in what you're able to do. You know, so when you are cooking or whatever, it's like you do back yourself, you bet on yourself to fucking make it happen. I think within this industry, that is potentially a big problem with a lot of people, is there isn't a massive amount of self-worth, and therefore accepting things that aren't really acceptable, you know. So I think for you, you're one of those success stories, and that's an important message to get out there. It's like, back your fucking skill level. Do you know what I mean? Don't accept less from it, and don't let yourself be destroyed by it. Prioritize what's important, and things will get, you know, things will sort themselves out. So we think about the result then, Jasper, and we think about incredible weight loss, fitter than you've ever been, stronger than you've ever been, you know, probably in a far better place in your career than you've been in a long time. You know, relationship is better. All of these markers have improved. Obviously, it's a drastic change. Why do you think this worked? Why did Chef Fit work, and why didn't something else not work?
I think there's two main factors for me. One, it's myself. I think for anybody who joins Chef Fit, they do it because they know that they've got to such a point where they need to really commit to something which is going to work. Yeah. And doesn't matter about how many people are in this tribe or how much support you give, it still comes down to yourself to make it work. But I think the biggest thing that makes it work is the fact that it's this tribe of chefs, and we're all there to help each other, to keep each other accountable, to push each other on, to support each other when you're having a bad day or a bad week or whatever. And there's so many guys and girls in here who have got different goals and different reasons for being in here. It's not just a fucking weight loss thing. It's not just, you know, it's not just, oh, I want to be the best person I can be, blah, blah, blah. People have got all sorts of different reasons. And that's, I think, really compelling as well. And seeing how other people are progressing mentally, physically, whatever it is. It pushes yourself on, it pushes me on when I see the other success stories and seeing the growth. Yeah. Seeing people who started at the same time as me, how they progressed, seeing newer members who've been in for a few weeks and seeing their progression, and then having the guys who've been in here for a year or more, and the kind of the elderly, not elderly, that's a bit disrespectful. But the experienced ones, let's say, seeing you know, their ability to motivate and lead and really inspire. It's a huge thing. And of course yourself, your ability to lead and to talk and to motivate, and the structure you provide. I think that I didn't touch on that. The structure you provide is massive. It's huge. The nutrition plan, the nutrition plan itself is really structured, but at the same time, it's very flexible. You know, it's not, you must eat this, and this at this time of day, blah, 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 and count your calories. It's just, don't be a dick, as you say quite often. And that really helps. And then the structure for the cardio and the gym time, you know, all of that is huge. There's a lot of reasons why it works really well. I wouldn't say one thing in particular makes it work better than others, but the tribe aspect, the community aspect is huge, and the structure you provide is essential.
Totally, man. So with that in mind, it's like, I suppose we've already quantified that it was worth it for you. I was going to ask you that, but we already spoke about it like that.
Yeah. Well, I've committed to 12 months of this, and I'm only 4 months in, and I still feel like I've got so much to gain, so much, you know, more weight to lose, more strength to gain, more energy to gain. And so I'm massively still excited and looking forward to the next
Totally.
8 months of this. And, you know, touching on that as well, just because I've signed up to 12 months doesn't mean that that will be the end of it. At the end of those 12 months, you know, one of the things I spoke about with you in the first phone call was that this is a complete lifestyle change. This is forever.
Yeah, totally.
This isn't some quick fix.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is about understanding how to live a fuller, better, happier, healthier life.
Totally.
And so the 12 months is just the kind of the Kickstarter of it.
I think it's an important thing to, like, for a lot of, especially for chefs, you know, and as you mentioned, quick fixes and stuff like that, like, you've got to be willing to invest in yourself long term. Do you know what I mean? Like, money is a commitment, but sometimes, you know, that is what is required, and energy and time, and you're fucking, do you know what I mean? And actually committing to the long term. I think the reason, like, obviously for everything we've provided and you've been part of it, but there's also, it's a two-way street, you know, and it takes two to tango. And I think you stepped in and you made it work for yourself, and you've committed to that long term, and you've, in your mind, you've made the decision. And for a lot of chefs, you need to start making that decision where it's like, hey, listen, if you aren't willing to put a fucking year in, and you aren't willing to, you know, put some skin in the game financially, like, do you really want to make a change? Are you just kind of talking about it? Do you know what I mean? And I think you, at the stage you were at, you really needed to change, and you knew you wanted to, and you made it happen. So 100%, man, I get that.
You know, I may be a chef of a certain age with a certain level of experience looking, you know, to make a change in some ways. But there are chefs in this group, and I'm sure there are hundreds, if not thousands and more chefs around the country, around the world, who are younger at different stages of their career, and this would benefit them too. It's not about necessarily having a career change and a complete lifestyle change. It might just be about living a better life around your existing, you know, lifestyle. Be a full-on chef in a really, you know, challenging time of your career, and you just want to be a healthier, happier person around that. And this is for them too. You know, this is not just about complete lifestyle change. It's about living a better life to suit around you as a chef.
Totally. But I think but like, man, like, this is the message of what we're trying to achieve. And it's like, I want to change a narrative about how a chef should live their life. You know what I mean? That is my message. And I feel that, you know, and as you said yourself, you kind of accept this life of just eating garbage, not taking care of yourself, making excuses, and you just feel horrendous for it. And I think that's the good majority of the workforce.
Yeah.
And for me, I think yeah, sure, your situation is much harder than a 9-to-5er, but, like, it's not impossible to take care of yourself. It's a conscious decision that needs to be made. So no, totally, I'm with you.
Totally. It's all about choices, isn't it? You know,
totally. Making a decision.
We all have choices to make every day, and it's about making the right choices.
Yeah, 100%. Do the right thing. So for any chefs that are, you know, let's say, whether it be skepticism, whether it be uncertainty in themselves about jumping on board, you know, fuck, will I be able to commit, you know, this and that. For chefs who are on the fence, going through what you've been through, Jasper, like, what is your advice to them? What would you say to them?
Don't overthink it. If you're in a bad place and you need a reason to improve yourself, I couldn't recommend it any higher. This is the best thing for any chef who needs to improve themselves, because it doesn't matter whether you're going to be doing 50, 60, 70-hour weeks or not. You can fit this in. It's about whether you really want to or not. If you want to make a change, then this is doable, and it's easily doable. Yes, it's a commitment. Yes, it's hard work, but it's not unachievable for anybody. Some of the guys and girls in this group work incredibly high level jobs with incredible amounts of pressure and responsibility, and they are smashing it in this group. You know, it's for everyone. It's all down to whether you really want to make a change, and if you do, then this is what you need to do.
Totally. And you need to commit 110%, and I couldn't agree more. And I think it's funny because I can, like, when I see these, and I would love to do this again with you in about 4 or 5 months, or maybe at the end of the 12 months, and we really see where we get to. But for anyone that listens or watches these, these videos, you don't understand. If you were to try and compare, like Jasper here, if you were to try and compare Jasper from day one to now, it's kind of like talking to a different person. Do you know what I mean? In terms of where they're coming from. Obviously, it's still the same person, but it's a totally different version sitting in front of me, or sitting, do you know what I mean, talking to me. And you've got to understand that you have a choice to change. And if, like, what would actually happen, imagine what would happen in your life if you committed 3, 6, 12 months to your lifestyle. Like, if you really fucking went for it, like, what would happen? Like, you got to think about that, because you will change your life if you really thought about it deeply enough.
And I think that's really important as well, is that it is a long-term commitment. I think if it was just a case of, oh, come and join this thing, chef, I can fix you in 4 weeks.
Bollocks.
It's just bollocks. It's total bollocks. It needs to be a big commitment for it to sink in that this is more than just a quick fix. This is more than just an opportunity to lose a little bit of weight or get a bit stronger or get a bit fitter or whatever. This is about looking at yourself, looking at how you live, how you work, and recognizing that it's not sustainable and that something needs to change drastically. And that change needs to be long term. That's why this works, because you've got a way of explaining that and making us understand that. And I think that's key to the success.
Yeah, play the fucking long game. You know what I mean? It's not, and I used to do 30-day challenges, and I don't particularly think they work. You know what I mean? Unless you're willing to stay on after and keep fucking going. Like, it's not, you're not going to change your life in 30 days. It took you fucking 10 years, 15 years to annihilate yourself physically or mentally or whatever your issue is. So it's going to take you a bit of, you know what I mean, a bit of a chunk of time to sort that out.
Yeah. Well, that's it with chefs though, isn't it? Is that most of us who are in this have been doing it for quite a while. And it's because the first 6 to 10 years or whatever of being a chef are pretty full on. We're out there to prove that we can do this, bettering ourselves, working long hours, and you after a chunk of time you realize, okay, yeah, I've proved myself, but look what the hell I've done to myself in the process. You don't stop and look at yourself during that first chunk of your career.
100%. And when you get to that stage where you want something more in your life, you got to commit to doing something and making the change. Don't wait. There's nothing, someday doesn't exist on a calendar. You're not going to see it out there. It doesn't. It's like, you've got the days of the week, and it's like, which one's it going to be? You know, and if it's not, then it's like, okay, well, I'm deciding not to do something. But don't try and put it off as if you are going to do something. It's not. Commit or don't fucking commit. It's that simple. It's black and white.
And it's not as if it's going to, you know, take away your social life. It's not as if it's going to say, oh, well, what if I can't do that? What if I can't do this? I want to do that. If anything, it frees up more time. Yes, you have to commit to a lot of gym time and this and everything else, but in the long run, it does free up more of your time to do more things, because you've got more energy, because you've got a fuller life, and you're more organized, you're more disciplined, and with that discipline comes the freedom elsewhere in your life.
100%. So there we go. Jasper, thanks a million, man. I really appreciate this. And for anyone that is watching this that was in a similar position, it's like, you can do the same thing. So fucking step forward and put your hand up and actually make the commitment. You know, you will not regret it, and you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So with that in mind, chefs, that is our success story for today. Jasper, thanks a million, dude. Peeps, stay safe, be good.